scored below 200 marks out of 400. Only 12,414 scored above 300 out of 1.9 million. Only 12,414 candidates scored above 300. In WAEC of 2024 that produced these people that took that exam, only 72.12% obtained 5 credits, English and maths. That represented a 7.69% drop from the previous year. So instead of improving, we're getting worse in terms of, so poor reading habits directly affect educational outcomes and national development. That's where we are. Before we now go to, okay, what can the media do to help us and all that? What can the media do?
Just before you respond to that, there's this statistics you brought to bear, and I think it's critical here that we establish what literacy also is. Because as we all know, literacy is not necessarily that you can speak English.
Yes.
Or you can read English. So these statistics would be our job to critique. Is this based on the fact that you can speak English or you can read English? So I think that is also key, because we see in northern Nigeria and some other parts of Nigeria where people speak other languages. They read other languages, they learn in those languages. And incidentally, in Delta State and some parts of Edo, I'm beginning to see something that is interesting. People are learning with the use of pidgin language. That language of communication is also the language of instruction. So in having this important conversation about what role and where does the media now come to the amplification of that culture of reading, the love for reading, the excitement about talking of books, right, and engaging in it, I think I will now allow you to speak to that as well.
Okay, thank you. It's interesting each time you discuss literacy and all that. Some of these additional facts come up that in northern Nigeria, they use Arabic, they speak their languages and all that. All well and good. However, the official language of Nigeria is English. It's the language of business, it's the language of instruction for almost 85% of what we do. Therefore, it is the language of examination. It's the language that all the bodies that are gathering statistics look at when they are doing their surveys. This is the language. And we're saying if someone has finished primary school and cannot read a sentence, there's a problem there. There is a massive problem. Why that disconnect? So the question is, first, why is reading declining? Why is it going down in Nigeria? And there are multiple interlocking causes. I will share some with you. Number one is digital distraction. Our professor mentioned it earlier. If you bring a book now, many young people will not read it. But if you turn that book into audio or video, the likelihood of their reading increases. My wife published a book for children, and because of this factor of children not reading so much, we had a companion CD with that book where she read the book. It's a story book. So she read it and the children loved it. However, 6 out of 10 said, "Where is the video?" They have an audio. They can listen to their auntie say, this is what Neka, the lady, with the hunchback, this is what she did, this is what happened to her. And they are saying, where is the video? So it has its effect for us. Social media is where that digital distraction is coming from. Social media is also where we are going to go to say we want to promote reading. So social media stands at a point where it's a cause of our problems, but it's also going to provide solution. Social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, they compete for the attention of our young people, the Gen Zs. There is poor library infrastructure. Many schools have no functional library. Many students go through primary and secondary school without ever stepping into a library. Their schools do not have it. The local government does not have. We have no public libraries anymore. I almost cried the other day. I went to the National Library at Yaba. It's a shame. It doesn't exist anymore. You go there and like, I used to go to this place as an undergraduate to research, to read up some books. That's not it.
Okay, so I love the points that you've highlighted. You have shown how social media more or less did step in, and the various form of media formats that people can engage information and learning,
Yeah.
and incidentally to the culture of listening to storytelling. Now, if we've established that, I think we should now move on to this other perspective. I don't know if Agali will be able to speak to that. You're a writer and you've done this fantastic work with regards to writing in motion, residency, and that kind of workshop thing that you do. What I'm going to ask now is this: having established that one, literacy is not so much about just English, because at the end of the day, what do we want? People to have the love for reading. And the question we're trying to attack or address is how do we use the media to close this gap where reading culture is a bit problematic? Now, let's marry that and ask the question again. Based on your experience and what you have done interacting with media in Nigeria, and as an author who has his own assets, how do you think is the best way we can begin to realistically not push against the tide? Because whether we like it or not, people engage with what they would love. People engage with how they like to learn. So if young children are listening to books through audio, maybe podcast, like audiobooks, like you mentioned earlier on, in their native language, is that doing the job of closing the gap of the reading culture? What if they listen to it as a format on YouTube and somebody tells and interprets that media in that format, a story, but done in a visual manner? Do you think that is the way to also bridge the gap? Or from your experience, are we fighting against what is already taking place over the culture of how people are supposedly meant to read or learn the culture of reading as a thing of love?
Yes. Thank you very much, Adrian. Let me quickly come back to your first question so it doesn't look like we all ignored it. You know, you have talked about the author. The one thing that the author misses with the use of media for promoting maybe the author's work, or promoting writing, or promoting for people to come and read what they have written. Because every author's joy is that your work is read, first of all, before you even start talking about making money, you know. So I think that my quick response to that is the author by design is not trained to be a salesperson or to be a marketer. You see, that is supposed to be the work of the publisher. The publishers have all the infrastructure for that kind of business. You know, however, I find that because the publishing has also become a very intensely difficult terrain. You know, it is difficult for publishers to take on a lot of work at the same time. So you see some of them taking on maybe two, the one we call traditional publishing. You see some of them taking only two in a year, some only one, some a whole year, they don't take any. You know, they just take on writers who want to do vanity publishing and all of that. So the author is then forced to begin to push his or her own visibility online. And a lot of them are not trained to do this. You know, you then need to go back to begin to train yourself how you want to, you know, push yourself, how you want to push the narratives. And you know, once it comes to today, because of the saturation, information flux that we have online, it needs a lot of discipline, patience, and consistency to actually push an agenda online. You see, you start something and then you are not getting the kind of engagement you need. After a month or two, you begin to chicken out. All right? Then at the end of the day, you come back to the fact that, okay, well, I've written this thing. Is there anyway? Let me start thinking about the next work. Because an author is also not very happy with just a single work. You've done one, it's out there, whether it's accepted or not, you want to start doing another one. So for them to then, the gap is you need a lot of consistency. You need a lot of training. You need a lot of, I interacted with a poet some years back. And I think I was talking to Mr. Richard Mama about the network. And this poet said, oh, I just want to write. I don't know anything about promoting my work. You know, and to some extent she was right. You see, so it's an additional pressure that the author is putting on him or herself to actually push visibility. And the way the world is today, you have to find a way to do that.
So you feel that from your experience, authors have not come to adapt to the reality that promoting your assets is actually your job, and it's a missed opportunity when they don't use the media to do that. That's the point you're making.
They are adapting, but it's not a very easy thing to do.
Not very easy thing to
So
do.
for the author to begin to fill that space, that author must consciously learn how to do it. You know, because we have online assets in front of us. You take a phone, you take a computer, in a few minutes, you've signed up into one social media or the other, you start talking to the world, right? It seems easy to do. But once you start doing that and you begin to see that you are not getting the kind of attention you want to get, you now understand that it's not just something you do because you can open an email and start sending, or you open a Facebook account and start talking. It needs a special kind of training.
I'm going to go to the audience right now. How many of you here got a book simply because you saw it on TV? TV, maybe channels, TV book club, or it was advertised on any TV channel. Raise your hands. I'm going to go in sequence. So if you watch it on normal TV, it could be on AIT, Arise News, and stuff like that. TV proper, traditional media. How many of you bought a book simply because you saw it on that media? It could not be this year. It could be like 10 years ago, perhaps. Who knows? Oh my gosh. Nobody? Oh, wow. Oh, this hurts. So this is a pointer to something. There are two things that just came up here. It's either one, authors and publishers are not using TV as a promotional tool, platform, and opportunity. That's on the one hand. Then two, it could also mean that there's a disconnect among people here who no longer use the traditional means of media to actually watch or engage or even gather information or news for that matter. That's what this has just proven. Next question. How many of you here all right, just a final question before I'll get to German. How many of us here bought a book from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp? How many of us? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is beautiful to see. In other words, the author and the publisher must now begin to accept that the readers have moved. Fact? All right. Now, German, what would you say to our earlier question that I raised to all three? Yes. Eh. Okay, you're free to, please. Where's the other microphone, please? They say we don't have much time, so we're going to maximize it. I don't know why we are denied this opportunity when we had 2 hours to do this, and now it's all cut off.
You think the radio is dead? You didn't mention the radio. You think it's
Thank
dead?
you, radio. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm a publisher, I'm an author, and I'm a broadcast journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done more marketing using the radio
Mm-hmm.
than using TikTok or using the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because the radio has an audience that are rural. They have no access to TikTok, they have access to TV. There's a book we have, my daughter. It's a book I bought the rights from a Zimbabwean author when I was at Zimbabwe Book Fair. My daughter. Just an advice of parent to the daughter. So, constantly in 3 weeks, we talked about that book. In 3 weeks, we sold 400 copies via radio.
What kind of radio did you use?
Radio is radio.
No. I know why. So when I say radio, I meant.
Like Radio Nigeria. But this is
So you use Radio Nigeria. I'm a data person, so I'm working with that.
Yeah, yes.
So you use Radio Nigeria
Not
in which
Radio
region?
Nigeria. I just give you solid idea. It's solid
FM stations.
Yes.
In which region? Because this is key.
Enugu.
In Enugu.
Yes.
So what he has just pointed to us is this. When you have a sophisticated society where reading is a culture, when you use their tool of communication, they would respond to buying. Thank you for that point of view.
Absolute.
So now, German, can you respond?
Okay. Well,
Because it's a 3-in-1 thing now, as it is. They're asking us to.
this
try now.
Akin Adeoya
Yeah.
just coming, so you just.
All right.
jump.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. I was beginning to wonder when my boss Chido, when he was talking, that are we derailing from the topic? I had to check the topic again because we have to be very specific. If we are talking about the media, let's face the media. This general problem of reading is all pervasive, and we cannot treat it in one. Okay. I would like to come to the first question you raised about what the writing community, our publishing community, what they're missing in the media. And I'm happy that my professor is here, Professor Loba Femi. You know, we've had this argument in the past. We've grown the creative industry. We've grown publishing. We've won all the prizes. We're in Afrobeat, we're in Hollywood. But one thing that is missing in our creative sector and why we're stuck, there's a lot, but nobody is moving. It's because we've not cultivated what we call the middleman. The middleman is that the writer, the singer, the filmmaker cannot be the one who's selling his work. I think that's the point that he was making. We've not grown, for instance, the lawyers. We've not grown PR agents whose specialty is in marketing books. So I don't mind, sir, you to be the one presenting because you're a broadcast journalist also. But we can also groom people who are professionally trained to handle that because it takes a different set of skill. Otherwise, we'll be behaving like president who just puts a journalist there to be their spokesperson, and he's just a reporter. He has no business. He has no PR sensibility. He has no marketing, no communication sensibility, and so he comes on television and abuses everybody, and he's doing the job of the. So what I think we need to do, because a lot has been said, is first of all to deliberately grow that what we call the middleman. That middleman is the one who transmits your book to the public. It's not the work that you ought to be doing, because as you said, when you publish one book, you want to write another book. What time do you have? So by the time you want to settle to write the next book, you have no time to even push the one that you have published before. So you move on. So some people will tell you, I've published, I read it a lot, they say I've published 10 books. And I'm saying, okay, where is the book? Because I don't see it. But if you have someone who is trained to be, that's his job. That's his job to push that book. You know? So anyway, not to ramble, I'm just saying that we have to grow the ecosystem so that we can have a publishing industry. We delude ourselves when we say we have publishing industry. In fact, some people use writing industry, you movie industry. We don't have industries. We still have the creatives doing the job themselves. I think that's one thing that writers and creative generally, that's what we're missing. If that's the only point I've made, I'm satisfied if you can sink it to us.
All right, that's a good
I'm
point.
sorry, it cannot be your association that will do it.
Because I was
The
going to
network
now.
cannot be the one that is doing it. The network is political more. You need to train professionals. I don't know if you understand what
I get what
it's
you
not
mean.
Anna that will do it.
Mhm.
It's not League of Poets that will do it.
Mhm.
You have to train PR. He's a PR professional. For instance. You have to train certain set of people. The added point will be when you come.
So, but that is good because when we talk about middlemen, I am assuming also that the middlemen can also be the bookshops when you do, for example, readings. Those are opportunity to promote your books, isn't it? And then in promoting your books, do you now use the media to create the conscious awareness about your product, which is the book, and then your brand, which is you as the author?
Let me tell you why the bookshop cannot do. How many people know Roving Heights? Okay, thank you. We have a program that we call the Book Trek. You've been
Yes.
on that program.
Yes.
You go to. I'm not spotlighting book Roving High because they have. I think they are the best organized for me. But then, even while you are there reading your book, people come in and they are not even interested in the book that you are trying to promote there because the whole system is wrong because it's not professionally packaged. So they come in, those who want to buy other books, they're not even looking at the book that you want to sell. How did they even promote that event? Yeah, Kuchido, you've been there before. That we're doing a book, one very important Nigerian book, and people just came and started buying their own, and they were even disturbing us. So the bookshop cannot even be. The bookshop is just an outlet. They just want to sell book. They are not trained. In fact, the lady who is sitting behind the counter is she is waiting for you to get the hell out of the place. It's not her job. Yeah. So you have
Okay.
to deliberately, you have to be deliberate about. There's this word intentionality. You have to be very intentional about step that you want to do yourself because we also practice abroad. And we say,
Special announcement. This is to inform everyone that the planned awards and dinner night scheduled to take place at the Federal Palace Hotel today has been postponed. As such, no one is expected to go to the hotel today. A new date will be communicated by the NIBF Planning Committee in due time. Thank you for your understanding.
All right, that was an announcement. You can respond to it as you will. Mr. Aki, good to have you join us. All right, so earlier on, we did ask a very.
Special
No way, this is not an airline. Okay.
This is to inform everyone that the planned awards and dinner night scheduled to take place at the Federal Palace Hotel today has been postponed. As such, no one is expected to go to the hotel today. A new date will be communicated by the NIBF Planning Committee in due time. Thank you for your understanding.
Okay, so Mr. Aki, we did ask earlier on, what missed opportunities do authors, publishers, right, missed when it comes to using the media? Because we're all about reading promotion. We're all about engaging more people to love reading and all of that. From your experience, what has been that? We're told we don't have much time, so we're going to maximize the much we have now so that we can wrap up. So this is a two-in-one question for you. One, what missed opportunities do authors and publishers, right, miss when it comes to people interest in books and in reading? Then two, going forward, by your experience, what do you think authors should begin to do now in their approach to how they use the media to promote their books?
Okay, so you confused me a little bit the way you phrased the question at first, because you first said what missed opportunities to publishers and writers. What are they missing in the use of the media?
Yes.
And then you turn it around.
Okay, you can go with the first one.
So
Let's go with that.
if I'm to respond to that particular one, then we can talk about the other one later.
Fantastic, you got
Okay,
it.
so German hit the nail on the head when he talked about professionalism. You know, writers assume that they can handle their own publicity, that they can do their own media work. You know, and a writer who is writing.
Special announcement.
Is there a way we can mute this out?
Inform everyone that the planned awards and dinner night scheduled to take place at the Federal Palace Hotel today has been postponed. As such, no one is expected to go to the hotel. A new date will be communicated by the NIBF Planning Committee in due time. Thank you for your
Attention. Attention. Okay, so they want to do it themselves, but that's just a little bit of the problem. Some of them also want to associate, but who did they associate to? They associate to the cultural journalists, the Germans of this world. Sorry, I'm just joking. But they associate to the cultural journalists, to the literary journalists on the page, on the desk, especially the influential ones, and they assume that if those people can write about their works and all that, that a lot of people will read it. That's a mistake also, because you are not necessarily talking to people who read the art.
Attention everyone, special announcement. This is to inform everyone that the planned awards and dinner night scheduled to take place at the Federal Palace Hotel today has been postponed. As such, no one is expected to go to the hotel today. A new date would be communicated by the NIBF Planning Committee in due time. Thank you for your understanding.
Thank you.
We are not understanding.
Okay. So, by the way, this problem is not restricted to writers. Banks will rather work with influential newspaper business page editors, to handle their PR. But the truth is that the job of publicity, the job of spreading the gospel, there are specialists, who are trained to do that. And they don't necessarily sit in the newspaper houses. They work with newspapers. They understand the different media types, and they understand how to exploit it. They also do studies in targets, people. Who exactly are you speaking with to? Who exactly are you trying to reach? And how are you trying to interest them? For instance, if you've written a book on children, for children, do you want to put that in the matured art pages of The Guardian or the matured art pages of Disney? Or are you able to sit down and knock out, a list of specially selected platforms where you can reach this? It may not even be a newspaper, it may not even be a TV station. It could just be some events that you do in schools and all that. So it's professional work. The challenge we have is because we don't have established publishing houses that are able to make that investment. The writers are forced, to do it on their own because it requires money and time and energy, So if the money is not there, there is a problem. So I think the way to, I don't know if I want to start suggesting, because time is an issue now. But the truth is that writers need to understand that it's not their job to promote their own works. But then that raises the question. So who will do it? Whose job is it? Because when I was listening to my Oga German there, it kept going on and on and on about it's not this, and I said, so who? Because we know that the business sector or the government sector or whoever, they've not put any structure in place that can take care of this kind of thing, because there's supposed to be grants and organizations and systems to make these things happen. That doesn't exist. So that's a real challenge, and so it's not going to be Anna, it's not going to be, so who?
Okay, so this is fantastic. Now let me come, because we're going to round up quickly now, because you've raised the question, so who? But based on my experience, I have learned, let me share this with persons as well. One of the reasons why my book has gone the way it has gone was because I became intentional about the value of media. When you talked about radio, my next series of questions would have been to the audience, because I wanted to do it in that sequential manner, but I'm glad you brought it up. Radio has also been phenomenal for me when it comes to the sales of my book. In fact, it was so powerful that it drove a conversation on the abolition of the caste system, that is the Osu caste system in Eastern Nigeria. It was that powerful. And then I blended it with international, national media, like Arise News, for example, right? But I was intentional about it. And that Arise News interview alone, I had over 55,000 persons engaged within 30 minutes on that topic. It was so hot. In other words, you as a writer, what themes in your book are you really talking about when you now use the media? So that's where I'm going to. When you pick a theme in your book, is it something the audience wants to engage with? Why should they bother? Does it matter? These are the questions you should ask yourself. So I'm now going to go towards the end now so that we can wrap up and beat the time and not have that announcement. So, Ogachido, to you now. Going forward, realizing that whether we like it or not, social media is here and that the skill set is changing. We live in a knowledge AI era where algorithms more or less actually drive the job. When you talk about the middleman, German, algorithms are now your newest middleman. How are you going to use it? In other words, one minute or under 1 minute, give me from your experience what you think authors must begin to adapt to and what publishers need to begin to also adjust to when it comes to the reality of promoting, remember, the culture of reading, love for book, and more engagement with all things literary.
Okay, thank you.
So that's
As
what all
as
of you
I
then.
prepared for this session, I did some research, and one of the outtakes is that we must adapt to what social media likes. What does social media like? Influencers. Hilda Bassi, you all remember her, our famous cook. Hilda Bassi did a book promotion. And that when we read campaign, she did it with Enioluwa Adeoluwa. They were able to donate 5,000 books and then promoted reading a chapter a day. And about 10,000 young people turned in. They wanted to be part of it. So I think that we need to, in adapting social media, because that's where the young people are, we also now have to use the middleman. The middleman for social media is the influencer. We have to find the influencers that will, but the influencer has to speak to a particular subject. So I have a book on media relations. I'm not going to go and get people, everybody. It's addressed to a particular professional group. But within that professional group, you can get an influencer that will speak to people and they will pay attention and then listen to him and say, okay, if you recommend this book, I will go and buy it. That's what I-
Fantastic. So the use of social media influencers, in other words, collaboration. Sometimes the social media influencers may not be those big guys because these people can charge a lot. Damn, and they might even be more than even your regular TV radio station. So the question now is, do you have that kind of friendship that you can tap into? With what I hear is happening on X now, formerly Twitter, is that people are beginning to buy the blue button, or what do you call that thing again? The tick, right? And then they are now coalescing amongst themselves. You will have a blue tick, you have a blue tick, I have a blue tick. We will start a conversation because we all have blue ticks. Let us mess up with the algorithms or use the algorithm to our own end. So you as book lovers, for example, we can all come together, team up with somebody who has similar themes with yours, perhaps, or you all have affiliations that are strong enough, build on that and generate, for example, a conversation around your book's engagement in it, and then future, hopefully, more sales, which is actually the end goal at the end of the day, isn't it? So over to you now, Gadi. What would you say? 90 seconds or
Yeah.
30 if you can.
Well, thank you. I think that there was something we discovered a while back when we used to do a monthly interview at Writers in Motion. So a publisher came on board that particular edition, and everyone, everybody was interested in asking, what are you doing in the book business when Nigerians don't read? And she just said straight up, that's a lie. That Nigerians read. So it took us a different dimension of interest. And at the end of the day, we came to the conclusion that Nigerians read what interests them. Wherever they find that is a different discussion altogether, but they read what interests them. So the format of information consumption today is important. So you've written a book. How can you adapt the contents of that book into different formats so that the person who does not, because reading takes some effort. You need some practice to actually be comfortable with reading. When I mean reading, I mean defined as you can stay in one spot for 3 hours reading. It takes some effort. If you don't practice it, you can't do it. So for those people who don't have the endurance to do that, can they listen to the book, in an audio version? Can they consume it from maybe YouTube nuggets or sessions or something? Or is there a movie production people who can actually look at the book industry and say, okay, let's find a good book that we can turn into a movie. And then they turn it into a movie, and then people are watching the movie. And because they are watching the movie, they then become interested in the book. Because personally, I've seen cases where I watch the movie and then I go look for the book to read it. In those days when we didn't have the technology that will give you subtitles and all that, and then you didn't hear everything in the movie, so you want to go and read the book. So different kinds of formats, and then how can we also employ trends? Because these are the things that people like. People follow trends. The trend for May may not be the trend for June, may not be the trend for July. So how can we also, as people in the book industry, connect to the trends as a way of bringing the book, the gospel of the book in front of them in ways that they will assimilate and appreciate? I used to say this thing some years back. The popular Karl Marx statement that religion is the opium of the masses, right? And then sometimes I say today is trend. So trend is the new opium of the masses. Because back in the day, maybe when you looked at it very well, maybe religion was the trend at the time. Today we have all kinds, and they come in waves and waves of. So we cannot run away from the fact that we are in a new era of information. We have to accept that. But at the same time, there is also this argument about the survival of the book, like I'm holding a book now. In 2005, and I mean, I'm so glad all of my bosses are here. In fact, when I saw the post, I said, what am I going to come and say here? These 3 people are my bosses, So Mr. Adia will remember in 2005, there was this constant repetition of the fact that by 2020, the physical book as we know it would have become history, because digitalization was fast coming. Today, 6 years down the line, 6 years after 2020, the book is coming back to become premium, which was predicted then. The book won't die to come back to become premium. Because when I open my laptop today, I have more than 2,000 ebooks. I can't stay on one of them because the same laptop gives me access to every other thing I'm doing with that device. But when I hold a book in my hand, I will make sure that even if I can't finish it, I put a book divider somewhere and then continue some other time. So, but just to sum up, we can't run away from the fact that we are in a digital age. Like you said something about the AI algorithms and all of that becoming part of the middlemen. Yes, to some extent, to some extent. And that's why I said in my first comment that you said something about your own intentional push with your book. you have to be intentional, which is what I said the other time. It's not something an author will just wake up and say, I want to do because you have these digital assets in front of you. It must be intentional, it must be professional, and then if you don't know how to do it, then you just have to go get the training. If you think you have the time, then you just have to go get the training.
In other
do
words,
that.
as an author, if you don't want to be missed or the world pass you by, you've got to adapt to the change right in front of you. It's non-negotiable. So there's no need for the whalers. They are already gone. So don't go with the whalers. You know what I mean? Then over to you, Jama. What would you say on the final note to the question in summary of going forward using the media?
Well, I think even me, I'm learning quite a lot. We can assure writers and publishers that the book will not die. It was the same way they said photography will kill painting. Painting is still there. It's becoming premium. Okay, so every new form that comes will not kill the other one. It's just that you need to then start thinking of this variety of formats that you mentioned. So you have to adapt to so many things. You know, I've been in a conference where we were saying, look, if Nigerians have won all the prizes, how come that our most important creative outlet, film, is not adapting the books? How many of Achebe's books have been adapted? How many of Chimamanda's books have been adapted? Right, instead of those people struggling to go and write a news, there are stories that they could have adapted. So one word that you used, collaboration, cooperation, network. Because imagine they do a film on a particular book that is out there. It's enough to sell a lot of those books. That's the kind of thing that we're not doing. And then you have people who graduate in English. How many of our English department, for instance, where most of the writers have been trained, are training book reviewers? Because book review is a skill. It's not anybody that can just write a review. You can do peer review, but book review is a skill. Somebody, if you open a London Review of Books, you see this is a professional way of reviewing book. But here, we do what we call paddy. Akin will give me his book, I'll write, because I know I'll meet him at Abeg. And we will do. So we need to, so this professional thing that you mentioned is very important. We need to, we have to develop this into an industry. That's what others have done. Okay, so we have to go in that direction. So adapting to different formats and, you know, generally understanding the ecosystem. I know that the MC was there. You know, there's something we started in Anna at some point. Then we used to meet in Surulere here in the Adionoku's place. About 50 people would gather to read. We were doing Anna meeting. And we said, look, if you release your book, and each one of us, and the book is 500 naira, and you say, I'm giving to all the members at 200 naira, and Anna says, everybody must buy a copy. Do you know how many copies you have sold?
Middleman right there.
We've been saying that for long. I don't even know how many people attend Anna meeting now.
Okay, so that is another conversation you just brought.
Okay.
And I love it. And I think we'll be wrapping up on that note as it is. We all belong to several of these literary bodies. The question is, what are you also doing in these literary bodies as a matter of fact? Because it is key. Who's to do it? So summarily, at the end of the day, the bottom line, everyone here, it is the onus. If you don't love your book and you cannot sing about it, me, I cannot shut up about distortion. There's nothing anybody want to tell me. I cannot understand how you will write a book. Forget whether there is an existing publisher or there are middlemen and all of that. I cannot understand for the life of me how you will take time, write a book, and you will not be on the megaphone talking about it. Your book should be your first love. So if anything we're going away from here is that your book is your first love. You are the one who is the caretaker. You are also the manager. You are also the protector. And then let us realize too that we can commission books. Yes, our own books as well. So the strategy for funding exists. And one of the other things we discovered is this. There are grants for us as authors and publishers, but we don't have the financial skill sets, right, and experience to also tap into these spaces where we can raise these funds. Ladies and gentlemen, considering that we've been interrupted with all the airline announcements and the extended times that we've been taking over, this is the much we can do. Once again, please give it up for my panelists here, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lady Ejiro Okoro.
Amazing. Please put your hands together. Make it louder. Put your hands together. Please don't go. Please don't go, please. We will not have done justice to today's session if we don't have contributions from people from the audience and questions as well. So we're going to take 2 questions or contribution. So, so raise your hand. Okay. So let's have you're the first, sorry. I think we'll just make it equal, a man and a woman. So we'd have, okay, please put your hands together for her as she introduces herself.
Thank you. I greet the panel of judges and to the moderator. You asked the question the other time that how many people buy a book while watching a TV or being advertised on a TV. I actually want to give a testimony that I have a TV program that I read a Yoruba novel. And then I wouldn't know, maybe because some of my viewers that are not in this region, because I get more calls from Sokoto. It's on what's it called now? Star Times, Nigbati TV on Star Times. So the novel I was reading was Yoruba. And I actually helped the guy that was reading his novel to sell a lot, because those people said that they were forgetting Yoruba language. So they were calling, they wanted to know how to get a copy, and then the guy actually sold out. So I just want to let you know that TV helped that guy. So it shouldn't be, we shouldn't saline it. Though I was reading it bit by bit every week on that TV program. So, and they got theirs probably to also follow me. In fact, some of them said it's helped them because they are forgetting that language, that Yoruba language, being in the northern parts of the country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Before we go to the next question, okay, please, sir, come. Please put your hands together for our Egbo. When I'm in Abuja, I'm spoiled. Anna spoils me when I'm in Abuja.
Actually, the panel of judges, then the organizers, the network of book promoters, and of course, MBF. I was not intending to even say a word. But when my German mentioned Anna, I realized I need to say 1 or 2 things. I joined Anna 28 years ago, under Abubakar Gimba when he was the president. And by 2022, I was in Lagos. I joined Anna Lagos, so we used to come to meet here. And I think there's a place in Ladipo, Labinjo, that we also went there. Then I came to Kwara Anna 20 years ago. Kwara Anna was virtually going down. What I want to say in essence that we can never sit in the middle of the field and expect the cow to back for us to milk. We have to go to the cow to milk. We all have a duty, and that's probably why we are here today. I should say I was an accidental writer in Mina, not an accidental civil servant, accidental writer. But I had a network of people that I worked with. So each time I produce my work, I find a way of calling people together. I was a unionist in school, so I know people. And any occasion that I make a people's presentation, I'm able to raise more than the amount which I used to publish the work. And through Anna, I was able to close up with people in the academia. Sometimes they want to see what is in the marketplace. They will call for your work. But the most important thing for me as a writer is not the money. It is the ability that I want to chronicle what is happening in the society. And anywhere I go, today I bought books worth 50,000. And I can tell you that no other convention will I go that I will not pick a book. But for most people, what they are interested in is material things. to use their money to buy books, just like is always a problem for them. But what we can, in other climes of the world, if you produce a book, the government might pick up some of those books. If they are doing book fairs, you will see government presence there. When people know that government is showing interest, definitely the people, and we are the government. Last month, government of Kwara State gives 6 million to organize spoken word poetry and what have you. What are the other state government doing? What are individuals doing? And for Anna, if some of us had left because things were not working, that's why I salute our Baba, Professor Oloba Femi. You can see 3 days consistently, him and Professor Osofison and other people who have been ensuring that this dream set by Uchenna Achebe and others did not die. So I thank you all for what your contributions have done. We have learned a lot of lessons. We are going to look at where we can connect with other bodies that are into promoting reading awareness, just like Professor Yusuf Ali San. He has been promoting it, reading awareness campaign for almost 14 years, giving Anna 3 million, which we have been using to train students in various schools in those that participate in the program. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for our chairman, our national president of the Association of Nigerian Authors. Please, can you clap? Because I'm about to go to Abuja now, and so I need comfort the same way they give me comfort every year. So there's actually a writer's village in Abuja. If you've never been there, please go there. You will get inspiration. Exact, as in the whole of West Africa. If you have never been there, please put it in your bucket list for this year to go there. You'll thank me later. All right. So our panelists has all our panelists have done an amazing job, okay, and our moderator as well. So we would ask that our panelists and moderators rise up so we can have a picture. I'm sorry we can't take so many questions and so many contributions. That's all we can take. So let them rise. Please rise for pictures. And then there are some special people that are in our midst. I'm going to announce each and every one of them. So photographers, please, can we have the pictures? Well done, sir. Well done, sir. Okay. I will. Yes. Okay. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we have some very, very important people in our midst. We're all important, but we just want to mention a few of us, okay? So first on the list is Alhaji Lukman Dauda, incoming president of Nigerian Book Fair Trust. Please put your hands together for our incoming chairman. Please, can you do a hand show? Can you do a hand show? Is he here? Okay, all right, all right. All right. So the next person would call is Dr. Uchenna Anyoke, patron of the NBRP and former president of Nigerian Publishers Association. Please put your hands together for him. And then, all right. And then my Ogak Patak, Dr. Usman Akombi. Okay, he's the vice chairman of the Nigerian Book Fair Trust, and he's the president of the Nigerian Association of Authors. Okay, sorry. Association of Nigerian Authors, sorry. Please put your hands together for him, so that when I go to Abuja, I would be well treated again. Okay, all right, all right, all right. So also Professor Olu Obafemi, former President Anna. Please put your hands together for Professor Olu Obafemi. And of course, we have Mr. Dare Olutunyi, outgoing chairman of Nigerian Book Fair Trust. Please put your hands together for him. We also have Mr. Dakpo Fisayo, President's Booksellers Association of Nigeria. Please raise your hands if you're here, and let's put our hands together for him. We have Dr. Umar Lamal, President, Nigerian Library Association. Please put your hands together. All right. And we have Camillus Uka, Mr. Camillus Uka, former President Anna. Please put your hands together for him. All right. Now, our event will not be over if we do not give honor to whom honor is due. So we have a certificate of appreciation that we're going to be presenting to our panelists and also our moderator. First on the list is Mr. Jama Anikulapo. I will call on my president and also the Lagos chapter leader as we do this honor of presenting the certificates. So please, can we have our panelists and our moderator? Let's welcome Mr. Jama Anikulapo. Please put your hands together for Mr. Jama Anikulapo. Please, I'll ask that our president and our Lagos chapter leader come forward. All right. All right. Yes, President, you're presenting. Okay, sorry. President, you stay here. President of NBRP, yes, you stay here. Then another president. They are not using. Okay. So you would read the things that are here. So this. So that's what you will do. Just wait because you're also going to.
Okay, so this is from the Network of Book Clubs and Reading Culture Promoters in Nigeria. Certificate of Appreciation presented to Mr. Jaman Anikulapo with heartfelt appreciation for your outstanding service and invaluable insights as a panelist during the panel discussion event organized by the network at this event, the National International Book Fair Trust. Thank you very much.
All right, let's put our hands together for him, everybody. All right, so picture time. This is how to do it. Thank you, Mr. Jama Anikulapo. Please stay. Okay. Oh, okay. Next, let's call Mr. Chido Wakama. Mr. Chido Wakama, please come forward. All right. Presido, you present, then you'll be done. Then we'll go to the next person.
Okay, for presentation. Yes, so once again, on behalf of the network, this certificate of appreciation is presented to you. Are you from Ebonyi? From Abia. Okay.